Today I'm going to take up the poem The Wind Hover by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Students, this poem is actually a sonnet which was written in 1887. Like many other poems of Hopkins, this poem is also a kind of dedication, reflects the dedication of the poet towards God, towards his maker. In this particular poem, the poet describes the beauty of the flight of a bird, which is actually a falcon. And by way of expressing the beauty or the splendor created by the flight of that bird, he actually celebrates the grace of Lord. The speaker is deeply moved by the bird's aerial skill, and he sees the bird as an expression of the beauty and majesty of God's creation. He is so much, you can say, influenced by his religious fervor that he has even begun the poem by the phrase, "To Christ our Lord." So just let's have the poem now. Let's have the text now. I caught this morning, morning's minion, kingdom of daylight's dauphin, dappled dawn, drawn falcon. In the very beginning, the poet is describing that in the morning he happened to look at the bird of prey, which is more commonly known as kestrel. And as I told you earlier, this bird, this kestrel, is actually a falcon. So the poet says that falcon, in the very morning, he saw morning's minion. That means favorite of the morning. In the very morning time, he happened to look at morning's favorite bird. He calls it daylight's dauphin. That means crown prince of the kingdom of dawn, the daylight. The falcon is drawn from his resting place or abode by the dapple colored dawn. See, the beauty here is the continuous repetition of the same letter. That means beautifully alliteration has been used in these lines, which is creating a splendor. It is majestic. So the poet says, in the morning he happened to catch a sight of the falcon, whom he calls as morning's favorite bird, and or as the crown prince of the kingdom of daylight. And he says that falcon was drawn from its resting place by the dapple colored dawn. In his riding of the rolling level underneath him, steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing. Now he very beautifully describes the movement, the subtle movement of the bird and the flight of the bird. He says the bird, he actually sees the bird as best riding the air beneath him. Like a skillful horseman, he has compared the bird with a horseman who is controlling his horse, just like that horseman has full control over that animal. In the same way, the bird has full control over his flight. It's very subtle and steady. The air is at once rolling and yet level and steady beneath the bird. The poet says, as the bird flies high it appears as if he is riding on a horse. His movement is comparable to that of a horseman who is standing erect in his saddle. That means, until unless that horseman has got that much of expertise in just riding on a horse, he cannot do so. In the same way, the bird is very much expert in flying so high. That's why it is moving very swiftly, and the movement is very swift and subtle, and it appears as if the bird has full control over the wind. Its wings are not being ruffled up by the blowing wind. Let's proceed further. In his ecstasy, then off forth on swing, as a skate's heel sweeps smooth. Now again the bird circles in the air as if it was controlling its movement in the wind, after the manner of a trainer who was training a wild horse. This I told you earlier. Now the bird pivots round on the tip of his extended wing, that has been described as wimpling, and at this moment of conflict with the pressure of the wind, the bird feels ecstatic, and it sweeps off in the direction of the wind as though on a swing. The skilled movement of the bird in the wind has been compared to that of a person who is swinging. It's so swift. Again, the poet is comparing the bird with the skill of the bird, the skill of flying high of that bird, of that falcon, with a skillful skater. The poet says, just like a skilled skater who is sweeping round smoothly, in the same way, the bird is also moving very fast, just like a skate moves very fast, especially on bow bends, especially whenever there is a bend in his passage, in his path. The movement of the skater becomes very fast. In the same way, here also the bird is moving very swiftly, and as it is moving swiftly, it is moving in rounds. And just like the skater cuts a figure of 8 on the ice, in the same way, the bird is also having very strong self propulsion with gliding, or we can say it is making full use of the wind's force. So it appears to the poet as if the skill of the bird seems to rebuff the wind, that is, to win a triumph over the wind, as if the bird is trying to prove that it is powerful, more powerful than the wind itself. And rebuffed by the big wind, my heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of the mastery of the thing. Now see, this particular movement of the bird had a great impact on the poet's heart, which according to him was up till now in hiding. Suddenly that heart gets stirred because of the movement. See, he got so much attracted by the beauty of the swift motion of that bird that actually his heart leaps up to just express the joy, to express whatever it was feeling. And that's why he was forced to write this poem. Somehow we can say this. So he says, the triumph of the mind over the matter inwardly stirs the heart of the poet, which was up till in hiding. Here, in hiding, we may say that it refers to the poet's timidity. Or we can also say the poet's heart was hidden with, you can say, in the worldly affairs. He was more indulged in worldly affairs. Suddenly he feels a pull towards God. And the reason behind this was the majesty, the beauty of the flight of the bird. So that's all for today. We'll be taking up the lines further in my next video.